G'day everyone, today I'm going to have a look at a game I think was tremendously underrated on the PlayStation 2. Now that game is Jak X. Now I've recently been replaying it again because it has been released on the PS4 and the PS5 as a digital download, and it is a very, very good game in my opinion. It followed on the success of the original Jak and Daxter by Naughty Dog, who also made Crash Bandicoot, and they followed up with Jak 2 and Jak 3 as well. Now, of course, they also had a game called Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier, but that actually wasn't made by Naughty Dog. That came out a little bit later, as did the other spin-off called Daxter. Now, Jak X followed in the footsteps of stuff like Crash Nitro Kart. It's the same sort of idea. It's a combat racing game, and it came out 2 years later in 2005 with dwindling sales of the Jak and Daxter series. Jak and Daxter did very well, selling over 4 million copies on the PS2. Jak 2 did around 1.5, and then Jak 3 around 1.3 on the PS2, and Jak X I think failed to even get close to 1 million sales. Now I think there's a few reasons for that, with the PS3 coming up later on in 2006, and with the Jak and Daxter series getting a little bit long in the tooth. I think people, they were a little bit over the platform games, another karting game on the PS2. Things were getting a bit more serious with more serious games, and it just didn't really fit with the vibe at the time. But I think with its re-release on PS4 and PS5, that may not be the case anymore. I've been thoroughly enjoying replaying it, and here is what the game is all about. Jak X continues on from Jak 3. We know all of the characters in the previous storyline if we've played the previous games, and the idea is that a former associate of ours has poisoned our entire team, and we need to race and win the championship together in order to get the antidote to the poison. The idea is that that associate has made a bet with his rival called Mizo about the race, and the loser has to leave town. Mizo has his own crew of dirty racers, and we find out a lot about them through the story, through cutscenes. Naughty Dog's always been pretty good with their cutscenes, and after most races, we get a cutscene unveiling a little bit more of the story, and it compels us to continue racing to find out the next part of the story. And the game also gets a little bit harder as we go as well, as they introduce newer and more competent drivers. So the gameplay itself, of course, the biggest part of the game is adventure mode. We play as the hero Jak once again, and we have to progress through 4 different cups in order to finish the game. Each cup has its own set of cars. So cup 1, 2, and 3 all have different cars in which to choose from. And cup 4, we can choose from all of the cars combined from all 3 of the cups. These cars can be modified in how they look, how they perform. We can change the wheels, change the colors, we can add accessories, which gives us a lot more investment in the cars, and I think it makes it a lot less sort of playful than the Crash Team Racing or the Mario Karts. It makes it a much more serious game in which we can modify and keep the car and give it a performance edge on the track. It gets us a lot more invested in the racing, and it allows us to add a bit more strategy to what we do and what we upgrade in the cars in order to get an edge on the track. Now the racing itself, the cars have health on this game. So if we get hit, it's not the end of the world. We will diminish health and eventually we will be destroyed. Now the car will always respawn as usual with a kart game like this, but we can also grab health pickups on the track, and every time we attack someone, we will also fill up our Dark Eco gauge. Once Dark Eco goes full, we'll also replenish health, and all of our weapons on board will upgrade to level 2, which makes them much more powerful. We also have pickups on the track that are Yellow Eco, which is forward-facing weapons, and Red Eco for weapons that go out the back. Anything that also goes out the back can be used in a strategic manner to deflect anything that is aimed at us. So if we have a rocket or missile coming towards us, we can deflect that with a rear-facing weapon. That does add a lot more strategy to the game. You can hold onto your red weapons and use them as defense if you need them. Of course, we have health pickups on the track as well, and Blue Eco. Now, Blue Eco also gives us turbo. Now, the turbo makes your car go quite a bit faster. Now, we can either pick up turbo. We get turbo if we go off a large jump, or we hit a turbo warp pad. And we also will acquire turbo by doing power slides. If you can power slide the car enough, you can basically have turbo the entire track, which is what most people do to win these games. You keep the power slide going and you keep the turbo going, and you can go as fast as you possibly can. The whole game is about power sliding the car as much as possible and using those weapons to your advantage. Now, another thing I liked about the game is the variety of different events. There's a heap of different events. There's actually 11 different modes in which to race in, and the adventure mode will scramble them all up, and the next race you've got, you never want to know what it's going to be. It might be a circuit race, it might be a turbo dash or a death match. It could be anything in order to win the trophy. So the 11 different modes are: number 1 is circuit race. Now that is just a standard circuit race, nothing new there. Usually 2 laps against 7 different opponents, scrambling to get first, to destroy anyone in your way, take as many shortcuts as you want, and use as much boost as you can. Same as Crash Team Racing or Mario Kart, just get to the front and win the event. Number 2 is Turbo Dash. Now we use a power cell which we pick up on the track, and we have to use all the power out of that power cell by using turbo. Once it gets to 100%, it will shoot forward and try and destroy the person in front of us. Once we shoot our power cell, we get given a rear-facing weapon which we can use to defend ourselves against the power cell that will undoubtedly be coming up from behind us. The more power cells we burn through, the more chances we're going to win. The winner will get the largest amount of power cells shot from their car, including how many laps they've done. So once you hit lap 2, a power cell is worth 2 points, lap 3 it's worth 3, and etc. So it also is good not only to shoot your power cell, but to also get onto lap 2 or 3 as soon as possible, because you get more points for doing that. Number 3 is Freeze Rally. Now it's exactly the same as Relic Race on Crash Team Racing. We're on our own in the track. We just have to get through a couple of laps, getting the time markers as we go and racing as fast as we possibly can. And usually the gold trophy is a target time. If we hit that target time, we win the trophy. Number 4 is the Absurd Rush Hour. Now this one is a host of cars or drones are driving towards us of different colors, and that represents different values, and we have to crash into them. We have to also avoid the red ones, which destroy our car. Depending on what lap we are on, depends on what the value of the cars are. The higher the lap, the higher value of the vehicle we are crashing into. Of course, we have a target value we need to get to. We need to crash into enough cars in order to win the event. Number 5 is Deathmatch. Now that is a pretty simple, it's an arena event, and we just have to kill each other. Whoever gets to 10 kills wins the event. Now number 6 is Death Race. Now we're following a bunch of drone cars. We're on our own, and we need to destroy as many as possible, combo them together, giving us a higher score. Depending on the lap we're on, we get more points as well. Another fairly absurd one, but destroy as many cars as you possibly can using the pickups that we've got. And if your car is fast enough, you can just plow into them and destroy them. That is the most easy way to go, but usually the cars at the start of the game aren't fast enough to do that. Number 7 is Artifact Race. Now that is a large arena where we need to pick up artifacts. We can see a bit of a light in the sky showing us roughly where they are, and we just go and pick them up before anyone else gets to them. First to 10 wins. Pretty simple, straightforward game. Some artifacts are worth 1 point, some others are worth 2. Now number 8 is Sport Hunt. It's just like Deathmatch. Everyone is in the arena together, but we're not fighting each other. We're going after a monster or a machine, and we need to destroy 10 of them in order to win. Now number 9 is Capture. It's exactly like Capture the Flag. We have 2 teams, red and blue, and we need to grab the power cell and we need to take it back to base, and we get points for doing that. We also get points for killing each other as well. This is the only actual team event in the game. Funnily enough, you are in a team, you're on your own team, and Mizo have their team, but none of that really matters out on the track. If your team members kill you, it doesn't really matter. If you kill them and you still have to win, it doesn't matter if your team wins, that is still considered a loss in the game. But when it comes to capture, you can actually do nothing and your team can win it for you. You actually are in a team, and that is the only event in the whole game where you are actually working as a team. Now last up we have Time Trial and Assassin for 10 and 11. They're only available for free play in Exhibition Match. They're not actually part of the adventure mode. Time Trial is straightforward. It is just a time trial. Set the best time you can on any track of your choosing. And Assassin is just like Deathmatch, but you are given a target. You can't just kill anyone in the arena. The points will not count unless you kill the person you are assigned to. Now all of these 9 events are available through adventure mode, and they're always mixed and matched together, and you never feel like you're doing the same thing. You never feel like you're racing on the same track. Naughty Dog's done a great job of using the 4 different cities. We have Spargus, Haven City, Crash City, and the Icelands, and we use them as a base in which they build a track, but all the tracks are very different. What they'll do is remove a barrier in one track, and all of a sudden it goes a different direction, and you feel like you're racing on an entirely different circuit, all based on one fairly large map, and it also gives Naughty Dog the chance to do a point-to-point race where you'll actually race through the entire city, and all the tracks will actually link up into one big track. Each cup has its own point-to-point. They call them the tours. You have the northern, eastern, western, and southern tours, and you'll tour through the entire map that they've created that they use as a base for making all of the different circuits. Therefore, you get this really good feel that you've never raced on the same track. You're racing and don't really know which direction it's going to go, and it gives the game a really good sense of replayability because you don't go, oh, I'm tired of that track, because it's never really the same. There's always a little tweak to the track that's there to surprise you. A few extra features of the game: we had a split screen multiplayer mode. We also had an online mode as well, but since the PlayStation 2 servers were all shut down by like 2016, it no longer supports online playing. Even the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 digital download, we cannot select online gaming. The menu just disappears. So that is no longer an option on this game. We also collect precursor orbs as we travel through the game. Whether we win or not, we'll get a selection of precursor orbs. We usually use them for upgrading the performance of the vehicles, but we can also use them in the secret shop on the menu, and we use that to buy new cars or characters or mirrored adventure mode, mirrored tracks, all sorts of accessories and things we can buy with the precursor orbs. And we can also unlock hero mode. Now, once we've finished adventure mode in basic, we can finish it off in hero mode as well. We start again and everything is much more difficult. We have higher scores we need to reach. We have more difficult opponents and they're more likely to kill you on the track. It is much harder in hero mode. And once we finish hero mode to 100% with all gold trophies, our turbo color on the vehicle will actually turn green, and it's a bit of a badge of honor you can wear with your green turbo. People know that you've finished Jak X in hero mode. Maybe it's me just being nostalgic, but all four of these games, since I downloaded them from the PlayStation Store, have been excellent replayability. It's some of the only games I've bothered to actually get the Platinum Trophy for. They have great replayability. They're very nostalgic for me. It reminds me when I was a kid. They look great today. They still play really good as well. If you haven't tried them, give them a download, have a bit of a play, especially Jak X. I find that to be so underrated. I don't know why it didn't sell as well as it did, but I think it is an excellent addition to your library. Give it a play, get out there and have a race.